Wow guys, so I had zero intention on making this video, but if you're reading the title, then I have successfully installed Killer Bee oil pickup for the STI. So I had zero intention of making a video because I want to pour all my time and energy into progressing the install because I know it's going to take me more time than normal, guys. The only reason I'm recording now is because we have made some significant progress, and it's kind of gave me a little confidence boost, which I know the Subaru is going to turn back and just smush me right back down. So I hope that's not foreshadowing on my jacks, but we'll take a look at that in a little bit. All right, guys, I'm going to catch you up to speed with what I did so far. So we popped off the battery, we popped off the top mount intercooler. We have to pop off the intercooler in order to release your the pitch stop mount. We loosened the connections to the intake here. Then we lifted the car up. It's currently on jack stands and a couple of other jacks. You'll see it all in a little bit. With that, we removed the headers, unplugged the sensor. Let's go ahead and take a look at the factory oil pickup over here. Now the problem with these is that they are prone to breaking, more specifically cracking. The issue is on the joints where it's welded, it's not cleaned off properly, and it corrodes and causes cracks, which leads to oil starvation, and that's no bueno. Not only that, guys, but I peeped in there and you can see there's like some trash or debris inside of the pickup. So here's the factory windage tray or baffle. It's held on by 6 bolts. Take that out and this thing comes home free. The whole idea is it's supposed to reduce oil splash to the block, but it sucks. During the job, it'd be a good idea to swap out the gaskets to your headers. That's what I did. Replaced mine with some Grimspeed because this, well, it was time, guys. And for O-rings, don't forget to get the O-ring for your oil pan. It looks a little something like this. And you also need to get oil rings for the dipstick, and part numbers are there. This right here are the primary tools we used for the removal and installation of our oil pan, as well as our engine mounts over here. We'll start off with the basic tools. You need this ratchet piece, various extensions. The common sizes for this job was 10 mil, 12 mil, 14 mil, and the deep socket 14. Along with that, you will need these swivel joints. These will take you to the last 4 bolts you need for the oil pan. These are the difficult ones to reach to. Next up, guys, this right here is your shepherd. This will take you to the promised land. It is a flexible and ratcheting 14 mil wrench, guys. This is quite possibly the only way to reach those rear bolts on the motor mounts, guys, because they are a major pain. You need one of these. Now let's move on to the oil pan over here, guys. We got these scrapers off of Amazon. They're metal, they're pretty heavy duty. They're meant to take a hit there. Now, I don't recommend using these for the entire process of removing the pan. They're only good for starting and breaking that seal at first. I bought 2, one to start off and kind of one to move around to get leverage. They kind of damaged my block. This right here is the real scraper you need. Make sure it says stiff too. But this right here, after you've made an opening, you've reached it, you get this bad boy, hammer it through, and it will slice through that factory gasket. You have to do it from both sides and kind of just maneuver it all the way around, but this is what I used in a hammer. Once the oil pan is out, you will need these scrapers. I got these as well off of Amazon. They're just plastic blade scrapers. They gave me a bunch of these, so that was super useful. We're able to clean off the mating surface for the block and the pan itself. And then lastly, we used Permatex gasket maker. Here is our area of operations, guys. It's this. This is the oil pan. We are trying to remove this to get to our oil pickup. In order to do that, you have to remove the headers because, well, they're in the way. You're not going to be able to reach the bolts you need to get to in order to remove this. So once you popped off the headers, the ones that go to the block here, go to the block here, and then to the up pipe. Once that's out of the way, you can then have enough space to remove 10 of the 14 bolts. There's 4 other bolts here located holding in the oil pan that's the subframe's getting in the way of. So this is the sketchy part. You have to lift the engine and transmission. That's why we unbolted the pitch stop earlier. This was the sketchy part for me because I don't like doing that, but that was number 1. Once we did that, we were supposed to remove the engine mounts located over here. This is the pinch area I'm talking about. It's best not to think about it when you place your hand there. The engine mount bolts aren't too bad. It's the rear one that's the pain in the butt, guys. You can see the threads right over there. You have to kind of fish your way through it with the swivel ratcheting wrench. Going back to our motor mounts over here, guys, those sneaky little suckers that are hard to get to, tucked up right in there. What I did here is I removed the intake track. I loosened up these intake clamps over here. I loosened the bolts for the radiator. I took off the battery. I removed the intercooler, and then I disconnected the pitch stop mount that's located behind the intercooler. And with that, you're able to carefully and slowly raise the motor and transmission up together, just enough space so that one, you could fit your hand in there to guide the tool to reach that last rear bolt, and two, have enough clearance for this stud over here on the motor mount to be free and remove from the subframe and motor. So those are the two big reasons there, guys. But like I said, you need a second pair of eyes and you need a second pair of hands. One, to take a look at all the connections as you're lifting up the motor and transmission. I remember this line was under some tension, so it helps to have somebody up there to guide you and let you know, because you're going to be spending most of your time under the car, guys. So that's what we did. There's no other secret sauce, guys. Literally just raise the engine as much as you can. The more you can, the more easier it becomes. But of course, it comes the risk of damaging other stuff. Once you have removed the motor mounts, next up, remove the oil pan. Oil pan is finally off, guys. That was a major kick in the rear end. Whatever sealant they use from the factory, that's cement. Once that's been pried off, guys, you'll feel that the pan is finally able to jiggle and get loose like you saw earlier. With that, you kind of just need to manipulate it a little bit. It'll finally break loose, and then the next thing holding it are these little O-rings from your dipstick. And that thing was holding it in place, man. I had to like yank it out. But it's out, guys. Oil pan is out. We'll take a good look. There's still oil in there. Looks like I dinged up the aluminum face here a little bit when I was using the scrapers. Of course, we're going to clean the hell out of that area, guys, because we need to make sure we have a tight seal. These oil pickups from the factory are prone to cracking or breaking, and it doesn't look in rough shape from what I see right now, but either way, I still want to get a much better performing one. So let's go ahead and pop off the bolts holding in the pickup, and then the windage tray, the baffle. This is as clean as I got it. So instead, we went with this guy. Brand new oil pan. I've been going back and forth between either using the gasket that we have here or using this 90-minute gasket maker. This might not work. We're gonna go ahead and go with the right stuff here. Do a bead, but before all that, make sure you change out this O-ring over here. We got the Killer Bee oil pickup installed. We also got the Killer Bee windage tray or baffle. Looks nice, guys. I wish this part wasn't hidden. We reused the factory hardware for here. Don't forget to add the O-ring to the pickup here. Most important part here is that you make sure the mating surface where the oil pan is going to go is as clean and flat as possible. You just want to be thorough with it. Otherwise, it will cause leaks and you will probably have to redo this job again. On this side, there's the dipstick. You'll see these two O-rings. You need to make sure you replace those as well. And then this just hooks up to the oil pan pretty much through pressure and force. I haven't found a better way to do it. Let's go ahead and throw on the RTV sealant around. You could either do it on the block itself or on the pan. Let's try on the pan, see how that goes. Alright, two more points I want to talk about here, guys, is one, the engine mounts, because they are just that much of a headache, and two, being safety. With the engine mounts, the way I did it is one hand, I pretty much ran it through the front of the subframe, and the other hand is going to be your wrenching hand. That's your strong arm there. And with the hand that's in the pinch area, you know, the one where it's in between the motor and the subframe, this is where I stress safety. Yeah, that's going to be your guiding hand, because it's already difficult enough to fit the tool in that awkward space. You have to slide it above the steering rack, and with the hand that's in the pinch area, sort of guide it onto the bolt. This is why jacks, guys, and use 2x4s and do one side at a time. Everything has been put back, guys. Just topped it off right now with the oil. This guy right over here. I am extremely nervous. We're just gonna let things prime for a little bit. We're gonna talk about the engine mounts here. I have a spare EJ engine that we have here. This is from same engine as that one, but this one's off of a 2011. I just want to show you guys the engine mounts over here because it's a little hard to get a camera in there. So here's the factory engine mount. This is the one that we replaced. It's literally just a hockey puck. And you look on the front, there's an L there. L is the left side. The left side is the driver's side. And there's one way to orient the mount. It's this over here. You want to point it towards the oil pan. And that first bolt goes in here, and the second one comes right back here, guys. Right side is passenger. We'll just scoot over here, and we'll slip this. Don't forget, this thing's got to point to the pan. Point this side to the pan. That is the correct orientation. And we line these up right there. Look at that. Bolt here, bolt here. So miracle number one is getting to your factory motor mounts, guys. Getting there and removing them will be a pain. That is your first miracle that must be performed. Second miracle is getting the oil pan loose from the block, guys. Super tough to get to. They use like this glue cement sealant from the factory. It's a big pain in the butt, but when you remove the motor mounts, you give yourself some more space and clearance to fit those scrapers and to kind of go around the oil pan until the oil pan is loose from the block. Miracle number three is reinstalling the oil pan with the RTV or gasket sealer, whatever you're using, without getting gasket maker on the oil pickup or anything like that, guys. From there, you want to hand thread the first few bolts to hold in the oil pan. Eventually, you will use the swivel joint extensions for those last 4 bolts that are located in the back. And then the last miracle, guys, is reinstalling your aftermarket motor mounts. That would be probably the best time to do it. Knock out 2 things at once. Hopefully you're not putting back in your old motor mounts, guys. May as well throw in some brand new ones if you already have them out. So that's miracle number 3, guys. After that, the job is a piece of cake. All you gotta do is refill it with oil and run the car. That's it. I still am in shock that we were able to install the Killer Bee oil pickup, the Killer Bee windage tray, and the STI group and motor mounts. But not only that, we also got a fresh oil change in the STI. The car feels so much smoother, feels a little bit more stable, a little more planted. Oil pickup, I mean, I can't really tell a difference apart from just being at ease, knowing that I have a brand new, much beefier oil pickup in this car. But yeah, guys, appreciate you all joining me up to this point in the video. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. I will do my best to try to solve them. This was probably one of my more challenging installs that I've done for the car. It took me a little bit longer, but I think that was expected, and I think I saved myself some decent amount of money on doing this stuff myself, guys. The end goal over here is to be able to pop this thing out by myself and rebuild it, and hopefully, you know, have a nicely built EJ motor in this sucker. But yeah, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll catch you all on the next one, and if you're doing this, good luck. Just raise the motor in the engine, that's it. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace, take care.